Lights, camera, action. Hey gang, Mark Sweeney here from Austin Dental Spa. You can tell the mold count is high in Austin right now with the little bit of rain we had recently, because all of a sudden I woke up this morning, almost lost my voice. Not quite, so they were still jumping a little bit when I tried to bark, but my bite is worse than my bark right now. So anyway, I didn't quite lose my voice, and I certainly wasn't going to miss Wisdom Wednesday. So if this is your first time to tune in, I usually sound much more normal than this. And what we do on Wisdom Wednesdays here at Austin Dental Spa is we talk about some recent scientific paper or knowledge that has been foisted on the dental or medical community, and I pass it on to y'all as early as it comes out in the rotation, sometimes way before it hits the mainstream media. And then we have a little fun with a health tip at the end of the session. So today is no different. The big thing about today is it's the last Wednesday in August, and our motto for the month of August was Action August, which is why I had the movie clipboard there. That'll be the last time you see it till we come up with another way to use that as a prop. We've already got our motto for the month of September figured out, but you'll have to wait till next Wednesday to find out what it is. So today we've got a really interesting article. It's very, very recent, not dental, but more medical paper that just came out about aging and about how fast do we really age. Now, I've always been brought up to believe, and you probably have too, that just gradually as we get older, we age a little bit at a time each year. If that's what you thought, that's what I thought. We were both wrong. This most recent scientific paper actually says that there are two main periods in your life where rapid aging occurs, and then the rest of the times it's fairly dormant. So we're going to get to that in a few minutes, and sorry about the scratchy throat and the coughing. We're also going to give a health tip on 4 tips for dealing with decision fatigue. What is decision fatigue? Well, we'll get to that. But let's get to the study first. Let's talk about aging. This study was reported in The Guardian, which is a scientific paper, and it's really taken the aging community by storm. Excuse me. When I first looked at it, I said, they only had 108 volunteers for this study, averaging between 25 and 75 years old. So the oldest person in this study was 75. The youngest was 25. But they took, over a multi-year period, they took DNA samples, RNA samples, took proteins, they did blood work. So they ended up with 135,000 different proteins and molecules from these 108 subjects that they studied over a multi-year period. And I thought that was very interesting that they were able to track that many pieces of data. What they found is that most people go through rapid aging somewhere around the mid-40s, and then they don't really again until in the mid-60s. So think about that. Mid-40s is when people are the most stressed about what's going on in their careers. Have they accomplished all they thought they were going to accomplish? That's kind of the beginnings of middle age, unless you're 40 and you think you're already in middle age. But really, if you're planning on living to 65 or 70, 44 is middle age. And so they found that, and we'll get to that in a bit as to why they think these two periods are significant, but they didn't shift gradually, these people. They think that there's another period that starts about 78 years old, but as I said earlier, the oldest person in this study was 75. So they really had to extrapolate what if, and they don't have studies. I'm sure these same people are continuing to study the 75-year-olds to see if their propositions or their theories are correct. But those two things happened. They thought, okay, in the 40s, women start going through menopause. So they're premenopausal. They've got hormone changes going on in their bodies. But no, they found in the male subjects the same sort of things were going on at the molecule level. And so they were they were having physical changes too, changes to their cell biology. It just wasn't as apparent in the males, but it was happening. So let's talk about these two phases. The first wave occurs in the mid-40s. The scientists said molecules linked to cardiovascular disease, the body's ability to metabolize caffeine, alcohol, and lipids. Lipids are fats, especially the polyunsaturated fats that you hear them talk about in food. The second wave occurs in the early 60s. Those include molecules involved in immune regulation, carbohydrate metabolism, and kidney function. So think about that. I've heard the statistics since I was before in my 40s that most men, and now women are catching up, that most men's first sign of cardiovascular disease is they drop dead of a heart attack in their mid-40s. Falls right in line with this. And then when do things like autoimmune diseases kick in, and things like Alzheimer's disease and cognitive issues start to happen? Early 60s. So there's some substance to what these researchers are talking about, both of these ages. So that got my attention, that there may be something to this, that these rapid aging periods go on, and it kind of gave me a paradigm shift about how aging occurs, because like you probably, I've thought that it's just a gradual linear downward curve, that as you age, you're not going to be able to sustain things the same way that you used to be able to. So what they thought of is that these spike patterns support previous evidence, like I said, of Alzheimer's and memory diseases striking mostly after 60, and that they found that people in their mid-40s were most likely to have their highest alcohol consumption in their lifetimes, up to that point anyway, at mid-40s, because of the stresses of life and just their general lifestyle. Their kids are starting to grow up and go off to school or get out of the house, and so they've got more time on their hands. So take that information and do what you want with it. I thought it was very interesting that the things like rapid or muscle loss as you get older may not actually be the gradual linear decline that we've always thought it was, that it may happen in the mid-40s and then you're pretty safe until the early 60s. So think about that, apply it to your own life, and see what fits with all that thought process. And I'm sure we'll be hearing from these guys again, because this is very interesting stuff that's just in the infancy stages. Now we'll talk about our health tip. Let's talk about decision fatigue. You know what I'm talking about. I certainly get it around here by about 3 in the afternoon. It's like I stop them at the door to my office and say, I can't make one more decision right now. I just made like 10 of them that were fairly weighty decisions on how things were going to go for the rest of the day, and I just need a little bit of a mental break. If you've ever had that feeling, that's decision fatigue, where you just don't want to make another decision. I used to go home at night when I was married and she'd say, what do you want for dinner? I'd say, I don't care. I don't want to make one more decision today. I'm done with decision making. I've made enough of them about whether that tooth is salvageable or not. whether the person needs orthodontics, whether they have gum disease. I don't want to make any more decisions, and I just hit that threshold. That's decision fatigue. Well, I can't bring up a problem without at least talking about some potential solutions. So let me give you 4. Make a list of priorities. Prioritize. Man, that's been a big word in my life for a long time. Prioritize. Knock off the big fish first. The things that by making those decisions are going to make the most difference, and save the little things. In fact, there are sometimes I don't even make that decision. I just shove it to the back, or I leave that email and say, I'll deal with that one tomorrow. I got bigger fish to fry today. So create your priorities and deal with the big priorities first. Second, make simple routines. Create simple routines in your life that you can repeat on a regular basis. Do the same things at certain times of the day so that it's easier to just do them, because you have lunch from 12 to 1 every day. So you know you're going to get a little bit of a break. Or some of the ladies in my office go walk around the building a couple of times, even when it's 105 degrees outside. They know they're coming back into the air conditioning, but they just need that mental break. Number 3, and this is a tough one, it was for me for a lot of my life, ask for advice. There's somebody out there, no matter what you're going through, that's already gone through what you're going through and has an answer for you. And sometimes even if they don't, if they care about you and they love you, they'll at least sit and listen to you while you start telling them what's going on. And sometimes the answer just kind of comes to you because you've got a supportive listening ear. So don't downplay that. Play that card. And number 4, and this is very important, find time for self-care. Take care of yourself. Take a little break. Go walk around the building a couple of times. Go sit in your car and play some nice music. Just put some headphones on with some nice music and listen to it for 5 or 10 minutes before the afternoon starts. Get a massage. Do something to take care of yourself. Those are 4 ways that you can combat decision fatigue. I hope this has been helpful to close out the month of August. I hope you had a great August, an action August, and I'll introduce September's theme, actually not next week because we'll be at the awards banquet for the Community Choice Awards, so it'll be 2 weeks from now that we'll introduce the theme for the month of September. Thanks for listening. See you in 2 weeks.